Welcome back to All About Avatar. In this video we're continuing the ranking of all the benders. The people have spoken. Y'all picked the Waterbenders. And yes, I'm doing it. I'm breaking the Avatar cycle. In the description you'll find a poll to vote for the next one. Do you want me to rank either the Airbenders or the non-benders? Let me know. And oh man, there are so many amazing Waterbenders. This was easily the hardest to rank up until now. Especially up in the top part, it became so incredibly hard to rank them, so I'm eager to know your thoughts about how these Waterbenders rank up. Considering the tier list system, we'll be evaluating each Waterbender based on a combination of skill, power, and advantageous abilities. I rank them from the perspective of how good they are in combat. If I haven't seen them enough in combat, then they can't be ranked. So first up, we got Not Wet Enough. It took me
10,000 years
to come up with this, so please laugh.
No.
Next up, we got Prodigies, Master, Grandmaster, and Legendary. Yup, you got it. We need basically 3 mastery tiers because there are just so many amazing Waterbenders. Before we start ranking, this video is sponsored by Avatar Generations. Avatar Generations is an awesome free-to-play mobile game, a turn-based RPG adventure for iOS and Android, set in the Avatar universe. Build your own team avatar collecting your favorite heroes from the Avatar universe and embark on epic adventures. The game includes all major and minor characters encountered in Avatar The Last Airbender. The variety is really incredible. Explore the 4 nations and uncover new areas and original adventures, including intriguing puzzles, thrilling boss fights, and more. With the new May update, besides Aang, we can actually now play as Kyoshi as well, including some awesome characters from the Rise of Kyoshi novels, like Rangi, Kelsang, and Jansu. In the new timeline feature, experience a brand new campaign based on Avatar Kyoshi's life as depicted in the Rise of Kyoshi novels. Guys, I honestly really love this game. If you, like me, are a fan of Avatar, then you absolutely must download Avatar Generations. Download Avatar Generations now via the App Store or Google Play Store. All download links are in the description. Moving on, I have to get one thing out of the way, which concerns bloodbending. So bloodbending is of course kind of an instant win unless you can resist it, which we've seen only Katara do and some other incredibly powerful benders like Amman. Anyway, for Katara and Hama, I'm not going to take bloodbending into account, as they are limited by only being able to do that during the full moon, which is like once a month. So once a month they can control your entire body, and the other 30 days they are just quote-unquote normal waterbenders. It's only fair to leave it out of the equation then. Of course, the Legend of Korra looked at those limits and was kinda like... So for Yakone, Amman, and Tarlock, I am going to take it into account, as they can of course do it whenever they want, full moon or not. I had to make a decision about this, and I think this is the most fair. With that being said, let's get splashing. First up, in a Not Wet Enough tier, we got the muscle contractor, Shady Shin. It was hard getting footage of Shady Shin. As far as I know, we almost never see him waterbend, so he's definitely not wet enough. I did find this awesome edit of Asami and Shady Shin on YouTube, so do with that what you will. Similarly to Shady Shin is Mafia boss Viper. We only see him waterbend a few times, like one of the first scenes of Korra encountering them after entering Republic City, but we haven't really seen enough footage of him, so he belongs here too. Moving on, we got the Northern Water Tribe Army. Guys, I scanned the entirety of the Siege of the North, but they really don't do that much waterbending there. There's honestly not a lot of fighting between firebenders and waterbenders in the Siege of the North, which is arguably kinda weird. Of course, instead they showed us Koizilla, which I think is a pretty fair trade. So yeah, these guys are here. Next up is One. One is probably an excellent waterbender, but as far as I know, we never see One waterbending without the Avatar state. So I just simply can't rank him because it's all the Avatar state. Up next in the advanced tier are the Swampbenders, Foe and Do. I'm gonna talk about Foe and... Foe? I don't know how to pronounce that name, it's so horrible. Foe and Do simultaneously, as the show always shows them together and they are really identical in skill. We saw them doing their swamp bending, which was pretty decent. Do could bend an attack against Katara and Aang combined. Granted, Aang and Katara didn't experience that season 3 power jump yet, but still. We also saw both of them during the invasion. They appeared to be really capable waterbenders. Of course, they do not compare against the Swamp God, which we will talk about very soon. Moving over to the last waterbender in advanced, which is Anna. This is the counterpart to Boras, which I ranked in my Firebenders tier list, please go check that out. Anna was pretty skilled in waterbending. We saw her bending from her water pouch, and she was skilled enough to create this ice floor to destabilize the mecha suit, which was pretty cool. I don't think she's really showed anything amazing, she was just a very decent waterbender who could put up a fight. First up in the Prodigy tier is edgy boy but incredibly powerful pro bender, Tono. Tono displayed amazing skill in the pro bending arena. He was part of the best team. Of course, that doesn't mean he's the best waterbender, because the best waterbenders didn't participate in the pro bending arena. Anyway, he was still very skilled. He was quick on his feet, precise, and had amazing reflexes. He was just great in combat, at least in the context of pro bending. However, he was ultimately outclassed by Korra. Regardless, Tono was amazing until Amman took his bending, that is. A shame. Moving on, we got Aang. I think people heavily overestimate Aang's waterbending abilities. Sure, he learned the basics rather quickly, but what non-Avatar state waterbending feats does Aang really have? The only really impressive thing he did was make this giant wave, and he was actually helped by the moon spirit herself, Yue. Other than that, we see Aang do this move against Osai, which I guess is alright, but that's it. For the rest, his feats are really basic. Aang actually really isn't as great a waterbender as people think. And I don't blame you, actually I myself was really surprised by how unimpressive Aang's waterbending is. And again, of course Aang had like 3 to 4 months of training, so we must understand that it is logical that he's a lot less capable than other benders. First up in the master tier is Hama. I've been moving Hama up and down using my legendary tier bending powers for a while, and I'm still quite unsure as to how powerful she really is. She did show against Katara that she is very strong. Of course, her ability to bloodbend is indicative of great skill, but we don't take that into account as she can just do it once a month. So we're left with Hama's waterbending abilities. I mean, she is very resourceful, turning pretty much all nature into water, which gives her an edge in combat as she in turn can surprise her opponents. Having said that, she was outclassed by Katara pretty easily. She showed some pretty good bending in that fight, but of course they were bending on her full moon too, so her power is really not that amazing, but she is really skilled. Up next are Desta and Eska. Desta and Eska are hard to rank because they often bend together. Of course I do rank them individually, as in I don't rank them here based on what they do together. Anyway, I had to look at what they did. So, I mean, they are both incredibly agile, using ice slides and these ice skates to slide down mountains. They are likewise very agile on the water too. Eska even showed to be as fast as a motorboat on the water, as she caught up with it using a wave. Not only that, they are quick and really strong waterbenders, shooting up crazy big ice spikes towards their opponent. Now, they are easily masters, I think, but they are on the lower end of mastery in this tier. Both of them got easily beat by Mingwa, which of course doesn't say that much, but I certainly believe that all the coming waterbenders would win from them individually in combat. Next master is Kaya. Kaya is a master, but she's also on the less mastery side of the master tier. At first I wanted to say that Kaya isn't really that good of a fighter, but that just isn't true. She held her own for a while actually against Sahir and Mingwa, both easily legendary benders using some very proficient waterbending. On the other hand, I do still think Kaya doesn't have too many amazing feats. I mean, she has some good techniques like this water gimbal she used, heavily pressurized drills, and more. Also, she's pretty evasive too, easily dodging a lot of attacks by very capable and quick opponents. So, overall, she is a very capable waterbending master, but she doesn't show incredible combat prowess in my opinion. Still a master. Next up is Korra's dad, Tonrak. Tonrak is freaking awesome. He has some incredible bending feats. Tonrak uses ice bending to his advantage, by creating ice slides which made him exceptionally agile. Besides that, his waterbending was generally really powerful. Unlike most waterbenders, he's more of a brute strength close combat waterbender, which I thought was really cool. I do feel like that's also what makes him more vulnerable. He gets close to his opponents like Sahir and Unalak, but if his attack doesn't land, he is at risk to a really hard counterattack, which respectively happens when fighting Sahir and Unalak. He doesn't go down easily though. While fighting Unalak, Tonrak was hit and just kept fighting until Unalak critical hit him. Overall, amazing, very interesting waterbender. Next is the personal friend of Godzilla, Swamp God, Yu. Yu is severely underrated. Yu is the best planned banner of the series easily. My guy can easily control huge amounts of vines with incredible precision. He can simultaneously grab Sokka, Aang and Katara with different vines. That just requires incredible control. Also, he pretty much only bends in his huge Swamp God suit, which if attacked can actually regenerate too. He was only able to be defeated by the gang's team effort. During the invasion, Yu easily smashed numerous of those metal tanks, only to succumb to bombs that entered his godlike body. And don't forget, even if his god suit was destroyed, that doesn't mean that you won. I mean, Yu is still there, he's still alive, he can still bend the plants and waterbend too. Yu is just an exceptional water and plant bender. In the Grandmaster tier, the first Grandmaster is Katara. Katara at the end of Season 1 was already a very accomplished waterbender. And then, in Season 3, she became even more powerful. She's an all-round, very accomplished waterbender, a really good healer, a bloodbender, and more. But we are looking at how she fares in battle, not under a full moon. And well, she's still very great. I think a lot of people overrate Katara, but a lot of people underrate her too, which is interesting. But I think she fits right here. Her actual greatest quality, I think, was just how powerful she was. We see her creating huge torrents, creating giant waves that could move Fire Nation ships impressive distances. And she also learned to be resourceful, being able to take water from plants around her and use it in battle. She could even stop the rain and instantly turn it into a huge amount of ice spikes. Not to mention that she even single-handedly gave Azula a run for her money, which individually no one had done before. Besides, she could also resist Hamma's bloodbending, indicative of just how powerful a bender she was. But most importantly, Katara has the power of run! Running straight into opponents without a plan, doing anything and getting smacked in the face. Moving on. Up next, we got Katara's Grandpaku. Okay, so it's a close one. Of course, Paku's bending feats were incredible. At the end of Season 1, Paku defeated Katara without even trying. But then, Katara does improve a lot throughout the series. It's just an interesting discussion who's better. Some people argue that Katara is better because Paku admitted so in the comics, but I mean, he doesn't.
No.
He actually says that Katara is one of the best waterbenders around because she had the best master, himself. And yeah, I think given how easily Paku wins from Katara at the end of Season 1, he's a lot better still at the end of Season 3. Katara already had a huge power jump before she fought Paku, which, between me and you, didn't really make sense. Regardless, we see Paku do some crazy during the Siege of the North, as well as when the White Lotus conquered Ba Sing Se. Paku is just an all-round waterbending beast, fully understanding how to use water in combat and doing so amazingly. Next up, we got waterbending avatar Korra. So, doing the research for this list took a long time, but there were some interesting surprises, and Korra was definitely one of them.
Damn, she's strong.
Korra was an outstanding waterbender. As always, she's just incredibly powerful, and she's easily capable of bending humongous bodies of water. Also, she's able to do this tornado mobility move, which gives her a lot of agility. Something which, mind you, Aang could only do in the Avatar state. Also, she was capable of creating giant waves that push aside incredibly heavy metal ships. I mean, just look at what she did to Kavira's giant mecha suit. Korra is unreal when it comes to waterbending. Many, I think, don't realize just how amazing she is as a bender. Moving to the past in the Avatar cycle, we got Roku. So, Roku doesn't have a lot of waterbending scenes, but he has one, which is probably the craziest non-Avatar state waterbending feat ever. He just creates a crazy amazing waterbending thrust that sends his opponent, his master, a kilometer away with incredible power. Roku doesn't have much else, but if he can do that, then well, he's a Grandmaster, easily. Final entry in the Grandmaster tier is the absolute worst villain from Korra, Unalak. Being part of the Red Lotus, of course Unalak is an incredible bender. Against his older brother Tonrak, Unalak seemed to be in full control over the fight. Even though Tonrak brought a really strong fight, Unalak never really seemed to be in danger or anything. Besides that fight, Unalak can create many ice spikes, strong torrents, water spouts which quickly turn into ice for extra damage. His attacks are very strong and very precise. He can actually hold off Bolin and Mako at the same time, both excellent benders in their respective element. He's also defensively very hard to hit and has amazing reflexes as demonstrated in his fight with Tonrak. Unalak is more than a master. He's a fully realized waterbender. Unalak don't even need to walk. Look at him.
Legendary tier time.
First waterbending deserving of the legendary title is Mingwa. Alright, so Mingwa is easily the best waterbender in the series. Of course, that does not include the Bloodbenders, which is why she's not at the top of this list. I think Mingwa kind of has that tough energy, in the sense that their bending is more than bending. It is a way of interacting with the world, a way of living. For Toph it's her eyes, for Mingwa it's her arms. That makes her fighting style really fluent, natural and powerful. What makes her so special is how she can move around the battlefield. Mingwa's advantage is her unchallenged control of water. She can bend her tentacle arms with great precision and quickly turn her hands into ice to serve as deadly weapons. She can even bend her whole body into a drill. I'm convinced that without bloodbending, not a single waterbender could defeat Mingwa in battle. She is just exceptional. Yeah, so now we got to the Bloodbender family. And really, they are here since they can bloodbend at all times. Of course, that doesn't mean that there aren't amazing waterbenders too, which is illustrated by the first guy, which is Tarlock. So Tarlock was a really good waterbender in his own right, as shown in his fight with Korra, where he bent a dome around himself while simultaneously rapidly throwing countless ice projectiles towards Korra. But then he revealed to be a bloodbender. And well, Tarlock can just bend like 8 other benders at the same time. That skill is just too overpowered. But I mean, he was part of this incredibly rare powerful line of waterbenders, so they are just out of this world. Which gets us to Tarlock's brother, Amman, aka Noah Talk. Tarlock said it himself, Amman is probably the most powerful bender ever, and well, he is. Amman mastered bloodbending at a young age. He, like his brother and father, could bloodbend without the full moon. He also learned the unique ability of bloodbending with your mind without any physical movement. He did this with minimal energy. In turn, he could avoid any attack thrown at him because he could slightly alter the movements of his opponents. And well, he can even resist bloodbending with little effort, even against Tarlock, who mastered bloodbending to almost the same level as he did. Of course, his bloodbending was resisted by Mako and Korra once, which is a testament to how strong they are. You might be thinking, why is he not talking about Amman taking bending away? Well, I mean, that really doesn't give you an edge in combat. If Amman is in a position to take away someone's bending, then he's already won the fight. Regardless, Amman is crazy scary. But that doesn't beat the last Waterbender, aka the last Bloodbender, the strongest Waterbender of all time. Is Tarlock and Otak's father, Yakone. So there's a lot of debate about who was stronger, Yakone or Amman. But in the flashback we see that Yakone mastered psychic bloodbending on a higher level than Amman. I mean, he bloodbent an entire courtroom with just his mind. No one was able to resist his bloodbending, not even Aang, except when he entered the Avatar state. I mean, Mako and Korra individually resisted Amman's bloodbending, and Yakone could even hold down adult Toph Beifong and non-Avatar state adult Aang, which both rank a lot higher than Korra and Mako, I'd say. So that settles it really. One might argue, well, Amman can resist bloodbending. Well, no, he could resist Tarlock's bloodbending, which is a lot weaker than Yakone's. So that argument doesn't really hold. But I'm interested in hearing any sound arguments that Amman is stronger. Let me know your thoughts. So that was it. Thanks for watching, y'all. Do you agree with my ranking? Who do you think should be higher on the list? Who do you think should be lower? Who did I get just right? I'm eager to know your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video and vote for the poll. And please subscribe if you want to join the club. Remember, download and play Avatar Generations now. They just came out with a new update featuring more Rise of Kyoshi characters and an expansion to Aang's story. Get it now in the App Store and Play Store. Links in the description.
Protection and power are overrated. I think you are very wise to choose happiness.